Welcome. Thank you all for joining me today. I know this isn't the most popular topic there is out there, but I appreciate your attention today. We are excited actually to share with you our new cloud platform today. And I'm Jessica Martinez. I'm a product manager in our cloud native group. I've been with Appian for about 2.5 years, been in product management for over a dozen. And today we'll get to give you a little insight into what we're doing. So first off, we're all familiar with these types of scenarios, right? Wholesale outage, data breach, or you go to investigate some production issue only to find that you have no visibility. Your monitoring is not there where you think it should be. And you might even have both of these, a data breach with no visibility. These are the types of scenarios that keep our next generation cloud group up at night. We do not want us or you in the headlines. So we are constantly taking your data seriously, the security of your data seriously, and making sure that all of your systems are well monitored and reliable. So today we're going to start just kind of level setting with cloud native and talk about Kubernetes and why Kubernetes for us. Dive into security, touch on monitoring, and then we're going to talk about how these changes are enabling innovation at Appian. And then we'll finish up by where we are now and where we're headed. So cloud native means lots of things, but for us we really like to focus on the technologies, tools, and practices that enable rapid development. So some of those key tenets are microservices and containers, amongst many other things. Those provide for better security, portability, and a slew of other offerings. But with all of those additional containers, container orchestration becomes a core tenet of your operations. And for that, we rely upon Kubernetes. For observability, we run a Grafana Prometheus-based stack with Alert Manager to give us notifications and monitoring. And deployment pipelines. Everything within our environment must be deployed out through pipelines, from dev through to prod. And for that, we rely upon GitLab's pipelines. Once we get to the cluster, we rely upon Argo CD to watch for those updates and pull them in efficiently and seamlessly. So no longer are the days where you're creating infrastructure by clicking through UIs in a cloud platform or elsewhere. Want a new account, an IAM role, an S3 bucket. Infrastructure as code automates those processes and makes them not only faster, but also embeds the security and best practices that we require. So this allows us to move more towards a policy as code approach, making sure that the compliance and best practices are built into the process. And Kubernetes is something that we rely upon heavily. It offers many benefits. And why Kubernetes? There's other orchestration tools out there, but this is really the premier, really the industry standard. It has, from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation most recent annual survey, a whopping 96% of organizations that were responding were either evaluating or using Kubernetes. It's the industry standard for container orchestration, and that means that we have an incredibly rich community of tooling and support with Kubernetes. Some of the benefits include immutable infrastructure. So that means that things are not updated, but instead they're replaced. So each time we're getting a brand new, up-to-date, tested instance as we roll things out. Any little change, it goes out as a replacement. It also has resiliency built in. So this means, so they maintain a concept of a replica set, and you configure how many replicas of each container that you want in your system. There's also additional configuration around those replicas, so you can ensure that they stay in separate availability zones, giving you better redundancy. It has self-healing properties, such that it's constantly running health checks to ensure the health of each of your systems. And anytime that it finds a system's having trouble, it goes ahead and automatically replaces that. So combining that immutability, the resiliency, and the self-healing properties really encourages you to treat your infrastructure as cattle rather than pets. So with that, we're going to expect that underlying hardware is going to fail, and build in the redundancy and around that. So actually, at Appian, we roll our nodes at at least every 2 weeks. That ensures that we have all the systems in place so that if anything were to happen, anytime we have to roll nodes, there's no systems downstream that are impacted. One of the things that Kubernetes is probably best known for is its scaling properties. And so we do leverage that scaling. The horizontal pod autoscaler gives us the ability to scale up and down based on simple metrics like CPU or memory. But we've also implemented additional tooling to give us the ability to scale on custom metrics, so things like request traffic. And in addition, Kubernetes gives us that abstraction layer that allows us to ship the same solution for on-prem customers, or self-managed as we like to refer to them now, as well as our cloud. So in our cloud, we actually have 2 layers of Kubernetes operators. So you'll see there on the left, you've got your site worker group operator. That is really our cloud operator, that because we run so many sites. So when we want to go ahead and spin up a new site, we'll go ahead and create a site worker group custom resource, and that operator will go ahead and then trigger the processes to create the Appian operator and the Appian custom resource. That will in turn trigger the Appian operator to spin up all of the Appian services such that they start in the right order and coordinate all of that for you. So operators in Kubernetes are really built or made so that we can make complex logic simple. And then its reconciliation loop runs constantly, making sure that those custom resources, they're really the configuration files that indicate what you want things to be. That reconciliation loop is consistently making sure that your system matches those configuration files in the declarative model. So with that, the Appian operator is handling a lot of that complex logic, which means that when we ship the Appian operator with our system to our self-managed customers, that abstraction allows for simple administration of a highly available system for our self-managed customers as well, because there's really minimal additional effort. All of the heavy lifting is handled by that operator. In addition, because so much is contained and handled by that operator for you, we are able, Appian engineering as well as support, are able to take responsibility for the running of your system, of the Appian product, in your even in environments we don't control. So security is really important to us. And some of those security core tenets and tooling is here, but this is just a sampling. Account separation allows for isolation, and it allows us also to have purpose-based accounts. We have tight system access controls such that people only have the access to the systems that they need when they need it. And that is based on a principle of least privilege. Big Brother really is just an internal term for a system of tooling that allows our security teams visibility into everything that we're doing in the system. So that gives alerting back, well, monitors and logs everything that we're doing in the systems if we do have to access them, and reports back and alerts back to our security teams if there is anything suspicious. Cluster network security allows for pod-to-pod encryption, as well as secure connections and better network visibility. And the policy controller implements gatekeeper rules, and really that is constraints on deployment behaviors. So things like you can only deploy out from images from an approved repository. But we don't just rely on tooling. We've also done many third-party security audits. These are beyond the compliance required audits, but also other third parties that have reviewed both our implementations as well as the output of that. And we've been running our bug bounty program in this environment for nearly a year. What that is we employ another third-party security expert team, basically white hat hackers, to try to infiltrate our systems and find vulnerabilities. So monitoring, alerting, and tracing. As we talked about before, these are highly important so that you always have visibility into what's going on. We use, I think I mentioned it before, we use the Grafana Prometheus Alert Manager stack. This is because we are using Kubernetes, we have a ton of kube state metrics that we get kind of out of the box, but we've also incorporated several other data sources and other alerts to make sure that we always know what's going on in the system and can respond to that well. We have implemented tracing, which gives us better insight into what's going on if there is a problem further down the stack. So at Appian, we've long had a cloud offering to be proud of. These metrics actually apply to our existing cloud as well, but we also have to meet and or exceed all of these things. So we need to meet or exceed the 99.99 best-in-class availability numbers. We also must obtain all of the security certifications that we have in our cloud environment. And we need to be able to scale at heavy load. It was talked about in the keynote as how much we're growing so rapidly. We need to be able to handle all of that scale of our customers as well. But we're not just the new cloud platform for where Appian sites are run, but also where development is happening at Appian. So the way that engineering is building and deploying. So we'll go into how we're enabling engineering with innovation there. So all new services are built as microservices. That allows for separate deployments, usually frequent and regular deployments. And they utilize feature flags. So this means they can split apart deployment from release and allows for quick rollbacks if necessary, almost instantaneous. They're highly maintainable and testable. And there's a strong ownership model. No longer are teams only responsible for building their services, but they also are responsible for operating them. That means that it ultimately means that the product is more robust because they're not passing operational deficiencies along to an operations group. It also allows for fast experimentation, all of those things. So Appian Portals was talked about on the main stage this morning. You guys are probably familiar with it. One of our most highly anticipated features, giving you an unauthenticated web portal for your external customers. These are powered by Knative, that is relying upon the Knative service, which is a serverless framework. So that is an event-driven framework, such that events will help drive the scale up or down on these offerings. So they mentioned it a little bit on stage this morning as well. But what this does is actually enable the Knative functionality, not just for the portals team, but really for Appian engineering as a whole. So we have other teams already looking to leverage this in other places and get that elastic scale for their use cases as well. And if you want to try out a portal of your own, feel free to try our portal game at the URL on the screen. So another area that has been taking advantage of our new platform is document extraction powered by Appian AI. This is a use case that scales up for heavy processing and handles a large quantity of data. Previously, these features relied upon a third-party vendor, and now we were able to bring it in-house with our new platform. This really opens up this functionality for a slew of new customers that didn't have the option to integrate that third party, and allows us to do a lot more with it. But it's not just about what Appian Engineering is building, but it's also about new opportunities that we're able to provide. So in this past year, we were able to open up enhanced early preview opportunities. And what this really is an ability for engineering teams to, early in the process, hand out a URL to a customer that they're working with and validate that their use case is working. This is a test site that the customer can use to test the real thing. They can iterate quickly, push out new test builds to see how it is working in real time. This was heavily utilized by our portals team as well as dynamic offline, and really impacted what the eventual result was. So where are we now, and where are we going in the future? So very recently, in our last release, we actually released the self-managed Kubernetes offering. So we have long had people asking for containerized production installs in our self-managed environments. We had Docker for lower environments, but we didn't support it in our production scale. And now with Kubernetes, we do have this offering as a GA. This allows you to take it to any cloud or other platform that you have available. But if you're not familiar with Kubernetes and that's not where you're trying to head right now, we are still fully supporting the existing model. But if you do want to take the leap and come over, we do have a migration tool that will make that easier on you. So to date, we have run over 28,000 non-test Appian sites in our new platform. All the way back in August of 2020, we switched our free trials over to this new platform. Those eventually switched into the Appian Community Edition sites that you might be familiar with, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. But those have been able to provide a large test bed for us. And come August of 2021, we converted our first customer, or had our first customer migration. We are still in the process right now, ongoing, of migrating customers over to the new platform. We have about 45% of all cloud sites in the new platform. Additionally, speaking of that migration portion, migrations take less than a minute, really about 30 seconds, but they do require a restart. So we tend to group this with another restart that you already have planned, so there's no additional downtime. We're not done yet, though. We're still working towards some additional parity features, such as connections to your on-prem or connections to the customer network, as well as some of the advanced compliance features. So that's things like PCI, HIPAA, FedRAMP. It says 2022 there, but not all of those will deliver this year. But in a parallel effort, we are also working on Elastic Scale, specifically for the web app and the engines. So those are, we talked how we have Elastic Scale for some things that really is mostly geared towards stateless services at this point. But for the existing Appian components, we are working on that right now. We have successfully managed to pull out state from our web app, and we are rolling that piece out, at least internally at the moment, but we are working towards getting the engines and the web app both to be able to scale elastically. So in summary, the overall impacts of our cloud native initiative, both now and into the future, are reduced lead time for change for infrastructure modifications by treating infrastructure as code and building out automated, auditable, secure deployment pipelines. Real-time observability via instrumented infrastructure and product services. Simplified deployment and management of sites and new capabilities like self-healing of Appian sites, services. Reduce the need for upfront sizing and enable cost savings by providing capability to automatically elastically scale up or down. And fast, easy creation of product services such as Appian portals. So I mentioned before that Appian Community Edition sites have always run on our new platform. So not only will this provide you with an Appian site, but it's a full function Appian site. It has portals, it has RPA, it has all of the features. Some of them might have some restrictions as to how much you use, but it is a full function site, and it's all free. So this is great for learning or trying out small use cases. Go check it out today, appian.com/community edition. All right, so that brings us to a close. So I am going to be around for questions. Also, feel free to reach out both at the conference as well as afterwards. And thank you. I think I'll just be around for questions instead of doing a Q&A. So that's it.